All right, friends, we are live. Super pumped. This is 2 days in a row for me. I'm so excited.
Wow.
This is Sonia
Jeannie, hello everyone.
and we are super pumped to be with you for another episode of Winning Wednesday. And this is a good one. So if you guys are here live, go ahead and let us know that you're here and what platform you're watching from because we're live all over the place. And if you're going to catch this on the replay, like most people, go ahead and drop the word replay so we can say hello to you as well. So let's let the cat out of the bag. We're talking about the one thing that could be your fountain of youth. And a little hint, because you guys know I'm obsessed with talking about it, we're not talking collagen today. I know that's going to be the first question is this a collagen talk? And the answer is no. Although collagen does pair really, really well with the thing we're talking about today. And that is the ancient old practice of fasting. So that's what we're going to get into talking about. I would love to know down in the comments below, do you do any type of fasting on a regular basis? If you do, what type do you do and how often do you do it? So let's get into that conversation because I think it's something that, I know in my last company, well, both Jeannie and I were in this company together. We talked about fasting all the time. And I will tell you that my health was best when I did a fasting mimicking plan every single month. Like I just felt so much better. And I'm not saying that that's the way that you have to do a fast, but if you incorporate it into your world on a more regular basis, you do feel better. So let's talk about it a little. Jeannie, tell me about your experience with fasting and some of the benefits that you've seen so far.
So I actually started fasting years ago. When I started doing CrossFit, I paired it with intermittent fasting. So I didn't do, the 3 days or the 5 days of fasting that I did when I was with you at the other company, and we did that once a month. I actually did intermittent fasting, and it was day in and day out, 365 days a year.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, every day. And it was very effective. I did the 16-8. And it really worked well for me. I never get out of feeling hungry. I know they said it would pass after a while, but I was always hungry when I woke up in the morning, and I just kind of stuck with it. I was very disciplined, and I didn't eat until later in the day. And it worked. It worked until I hit menopause, and then I had to stop fasting. So for me, it was something that was temporarily effective. I love, when I learned more about what fasting does, especially when we do those 3-day fasting, 5-day fasting type thing, where it's more of like, it's a little bit deeper than doing intermittent fasting, if that makes
Love
sense.
it. So I would look at intermittent fasting, and
Yeah.
there are many ways of doing it, right? So 16-8 is the most common, meaning that you are fasting for 16 hours and your eating window is 8 hours, but those eating windows can be different. Some people, it's like 18 and 6. I mean, so there's different ways of doing it, but 16-8 is a very, very common way of doing it. But even so, I would look at intermittent fasting is like training wheels, right? So for people that have never fasted before, it could be a really good thing. And it does create, so let me just touch on a couple of the benefits of fasting because I think it's important to understand it. So intermittent fasting gives you kind of a small amount of these benefits, but the more prolonged fast will give you more. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind as we're talking about this. So obviously detoxing is one of those benefits. Cellular turnover or cell regeneration. And that's why when we talk about the fountain of youth, right, it's all about getting rid of old things, old crusty cells, cell turnover, and we want new healthy cells. And there is a process that is created when you do, especially a prolonged fast called autophagy. As I used to say, it's like when, if you guys remember Pac-Man eating the little monsters on the screen. So it's auto eating of old unhealthy cells and making way for cellular turnover and new, fresh, clean, healthy cells. And so when you have healthy cells, you have a healthy body. And literally, you guys, you age backwards. If you have
That's
biological
incredible.
age, yeah, if you have
Yeah.
biological age checked for someone that is fasting on a regular basis, I guarantee you their biological age will be much younger than their current age.
Mhm.
Also helps with fat loss. Obviously, we know that.
Yeah.
Helps to reset the gut microbiome, helps with sleep, helps with, eliminating a lot of the bad habits that occur in the kitchen, whether that's your carb cravings or just eating food when you're not hungry. So it kind of resets a lot of those hunger hormones, which we talked
Mhm.
about last week. And so if you're that person that's always hungry or like snacking your way through the day, you might want to think about incorporating some fasting. So let's see, did I miss any benefits? It helps improve.
Energy levels, I know mine. Yeah,
Mhm.
energy levels go through the roof for me. I'm just so energized.
Yeah, it's crazy how you would think it would be the opposite. You're
Mhm.
not eating anything or eating very little, you'd have less energy, and that's not the case at all,
Yeah.
which is crazy in most people's mind. It was crazy in my mind, but nonetheless, it's really effective. Okay, so what other so intermittent fasting, we've talked about that being kind of the training wheels. What are some of the
Mhm.
other types of fast that you do or have done in the past?
I've done the 3-day fasting. I think it was 3 was it 3 days that we did? I think it was 3 days, or was it 5? I don't remember now,
The
but it
last
was so
company
long
that
ago.
we worked with, it was
Yeah.
5 days, 5
Okay,
days.
so I did that, and I've also done the Prolon fasting. I've done that
Okay.
too. Um, what I will say is that it is much more challenging because you are on little food,
Mm.
and, you know, day 1 is the toughest. If you can get through day 1, you're almost good, but I remember by day 3, I was ready to quit. It is pretty hard, going without your
The
coffee, and
coffee. I knew
it's a
it.
big one. Yes, yes, and,
Mhm.
and I kept saying, "If I can just get a cup of coffee, I can get through." But yeah, and I don't drink a lot of coffee. It's just a cup of coffee, but it's like it sets you up for the day,
Mm,
and it's a habit. And when it comes to habits, it's hard to break those habits.
right.
But yeah, I've done both types of fasting. I've done the Prolon and the one with the other company. And I remember doing, like, we did soups,
Mhm.
and they had like little bars, that had the energy you needed to eat the bars, and little crackers. Yeah, I've had all those, and like, yeah, that's it.
And the reason we're talking about it in the order that we're talking about it is because it is kinda next level. So,
Mhm.
before we get to, like, Prolon, because I'm actually about to do a Prolon fast next week, I meant to grab it out of my box and bring it in here and
Mm.
show and tell, but anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But there's also a really great program that both Jeannie and I work with called the 5-day drop. And so, Jeannie, talk to us about the 5-day drop. What is it like? What are some of the benefits? I know you've done it, I've done it. What are
Mhm.
some of the benefits that people see with the 5-day drop, and what is it?
Yeah, so the 5-day drop is great because you get to incorporate foods. It's not just soups and fluids and all the things. You do give up coffee for 5 days, but you can have some tea. You can drink tea throughout the day. It's all about adding protein, vegetables. There's a little fruit in there. And it's really just kind of resetting your metabolism, which I really, really love. I mean, if you're going to do fasting, this one is the one, because it's like it's in between doing an intermittent fasting and doing the full-blown 5-day fasting that you would do with like a Prolon. That this metabolic reset is, you're still eating. I love it. You're still eating, but then you're seeing the bloating is reduced. You've got more energy. What else did I miss? Your metabolism is reset. Water, like excess water, is released. It helps the digestive system. So it really has amazing benefits. And as each day goes by, even though you're not having that coffee in the morning, you're still getting those meals. So you're not feeling deprived. And by day 3, where in the other ones, I would feel like I just want to quit. By day 3 on this, my energy would just skyrocket, and I would feel amazing. Like, sleep was so much better. I could go to sleep and stay asleep throughout the night, and you just feel lighter. So I don't
Mhm.
know about like what you got out of it, Sonia, but that's what I really felt from doing that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And just to be clear, so day one of the 5 day drop does, if you're wondering how this fits under the fasting umbrella, day one, you are fasting until dinner time. So
Oh
only
yeah.
liquids, approved
Mhm.
non-caloric liquids, and we're actually flooding the body with trace minerals and
Mm.
greens from a greens powder. So very
Yeah.
minimal calories. I mean, we're talking like 15 calories. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, as Jeannie said, the next level from intermittent fasting, where
Mhm.
you're following a very specific meal plan, and day one is the fast, or as I call it, a partial fast. But then there's a lot of cycling of calories and protein and carbs and fats throughout the rest of the 5 days. And I've done it now 3 times, and
Mhm.
every single time I've lost at least 5 pounds, which is, and
Yay.
you guys, if you know my story, you know I was living in toxic mold and didn't know it. And so for me to lose weight is very difficult. So when
Mhm.
I say I lose 5 pounds doing something, like, it's legit.
It's
I love to
working. Yeah.
be a human guinea pig for a lot of these things because, as I say, like, donate my body to science while I'm alive, because there are so many ways that we can help people. And
Mhm.
if we can, test the waters and create results and success, who wouldn't want to tell the world about it, right?
Yes,
So if you
agree.
guys are ready to graduate from intermittent fasting and you want to
Mhm.
try the 5 day drop, we give you a meal plan, which is,
Mhm.
I mean, people pay. I used to make a lot of money off writing meal plans as a dietitian. And so we're giving you a meal plan, and then there are some specific supplements that go along with it. But
Mhm.
I'm telling you, you will reduce inflammation, reduce gut, fatigue, bloating, all of the things that are happening in your gut. You will reduce a lot of that digestive bulk, and just like in general, improve your energy levels, your sleep, all of that, boost your metabolism. Like, there's so many benefits of it, but it gives you that sort of next level ability to be close to doing a fast, right?
Yeah.
That's the 5 day drop. And if you want information on any of the things that we're sharing today, just drop a comment below or message Jeannie or I would be happy to share with you. So Prolon and or
Yeah.
a fasting mimicking plan. So a company that we worked with in the past had a similar program, but Prolon is essentially a 5 day fasting mimicking plan. So what it does is it mimics the health benefits of a 5 day water fast without just drinking water. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of scientific research behind it. And, for people that are like, oh, I could never just do a water fast or even a dry fast, Prolon is a great way to mimic those effects and get deeper into that cellular regeneration and autophagy and all those benefits I talked about earlier, really next level. So usually when I do Prolon, I'll lose about 6 to 7 pounds in the 5 days. And it's getting rid of a lot of inflammation. But on those 5 days, you're not fully fasting. Your caloric load is very low, but you're consuming soups and teas, and they do have a fasting bar and some very specific supplements. So I always believe that when I fast, I leave my supplements in the cabinet for the most part, unless they are, something that's important for the fast, because it's just good in general to give your digestive system a little bit of a break, right? It's being fed constantly, right?
Mhm. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I do Prolon at least quarterly. Right now, I'm doing a really big reset because of dealing with toxic mold, and I'm on the other side of it now. But I'm, trying to detox a lot of stuff out of my body. So I'm doing Prolon 3 months in a row. There's been a lot of health benefits associated with that 3 months in a row. So,
Wow.
wish me luck.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
last but not least, Jeannie, have you ever done any water fasting?
No, I have never. I mean, the other ones were really challenging for me. I just can't even imagine drinking water for days.
Right? So, I mean, the reality is you can live without, forget the exact numbers, but you can live without food for a very long time. But you
Yeah.
can't live very long without water, as we know. Water and oxygen, you need those two things. But there's a lot of health benefits behind doing a water fast. And, people do them for 3 days, 5 days. I mean, I think if you go any longer than 5 days, you're probably pushing the envelope. But you
Yeah.
have to be a super aggressive faster. But you guys, there is data on fasting that shows, I can't make medical claims, but if just go research the data, even things like cancer are significantly impacted by fasting in a positive way because we're depriving cancer of nutrients, right? So fasting is really powerful. And even doing that fasting mimicking like Prolon has been shown to be significant for just about every health condition, diabetes,
Wow.
pre-diabetes. We reset blood sugar levels. I mean, so there is just
Yeah.
numerous studies and information on the benefits of fasting. And fasting has been done since biblical days, right? This is
Yeah.
not a new concept. We've got some tools that make it easier now, but
Mhm.
the art of fasting, think about, Ramadan. What do? They fast, right?
Yes.
In a lot of religious practices, there's a fasting component and there's a reason for that. So
Mm.
I just think it's so fascinating. And I personally have done water fasting one
Mhm.
day, which is why when Prolon came out, I'm like, hallelujah.
Yay.
I get those same benefits without like just drinking water. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about drinking water, but if that's all I'm drinking, it's a little more difficult,
Yeah,
right?
now that you mention that, I actually do remember in college trying it, and I lasted just one day. By the next morning, I was done. Yeah.
Which you did a lot of healthy things for your body in that one day, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't think, right? And then there are others that kind of flow more along the lines of, the intermittent fasting in the sense of you're interspersing really high calorie days with
Yeah.
really low calorie days. So you might do, a 2000 calorie day and then, 2 days of like 500 calories. So you're really cycling your calories. So I wouldn't really call that any type of a full fast because you don't get those same health benefits, but you do, the less food you put in your belly,
Mhm.
the more benefits of autophagy and cell turnover you get. It's that simple. So there's no magic to it. It's really, go without food for a while and you've got some really great things.
There
And
you
then
go.
the last in line, which I have never done, and if you guys have done it, I would love to hear your opinion, is a dry fast, which means no food, no water. It's exactly how
Whoa.
it sounds. And obviously, you can't do that for as long.
Yeah.
And again, I can't speak to those results because I've never tried it. I have
Mhm.
tried all the other ones. So I think personally, if you think about where you're at on this journey, incorporating any fasting, truly, they have shown in so many studies, it
Yeah.
really is a big part of the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
It blows my mind every time I read a research study on it. And yes, I
Yeah.
still am obsessed with collagen, and I know you are too, Jeannie.
Yes.
So that
Absolutely.
that helps the fountain of youth,
It
right? We call it
does. Yeah.
Botox in the bottle for a reason. But so anyway, that was what we wanted to share. Jeannie, anything
Mhm.
else that you've tried with fasting or any other types of fasting you think are
Well,
people should know about?
yeah, I mean, what I will say is that if you don't want to venture into doing a full intermittent fasting, you could do something similar, like somewhat, where you're just not eating as early in the morning for
Mm,
breakfast.
mhm.
Extend it a little bit because the little bit that you extend that you're fasting like a full 12 hours or whatever, that's great for your body. I think if we're constantly eating and drinking and snacking throughout the day, we're just putting so much work and load onto our digestive system and we're not giving it a break. So by doing that overnight fast, not eating as early in the morning, just letting your digestive system be for a bit, I think it helps overall long term.
Right. And when you eat constantly, I mean, I used to compete in fitness competitions and we literally ate every 2 to 3 hours because, there are some benefits to doing that
Yeah.
in the sense of, especially if you're in the bodybuilding world.
Yeah.
But when it comes to regulating hormones and blood sugar levels, every time you eat, there is a surge in insulin, right?
Mhm.
Because insulin has to act as the mechanism or the hormone that is
Yeah.
going to lower blood sugars that elevate as a result of eating. And obviously, we know some foods elevate blood sugar more than others,
Mhm.
but nonetheless, there is an insulin surge every time you eat. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're constantly eating, you're getting a lot of insulin surges,
Yeah.
right? So that's not always the healthiest. If you've got a really healthy metabolism to begin with,
Mhm.
you can get away with that. But
Yeah.
as we, get older and things start to maybe change hormonally, constantly eating can be a little hard as far as insulin resistance. So that's something to think about as well too. But so there's
Yeah.
so many health benefits and we could talk all day about this, but I mean, I guess the take home is that find a method that works for you and incorporate some regular fasting. And even with intermittent fasting, I know Jeannie, you did it for like religiously for a long time, but
Yeah.
do you ever find that just at certain times you maybe just do it for a week, you go back to it and then you push breakfast out, right? Like you said, because those
Yeah.
are things I do on a regular basis. Change it
Mhm.
up, right?
Change it up. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I
Mhm.
do. Just push breakfast to a little bit later in the morning. And
Yeah.
that's to me a healthy medium for me, but you have to find what works for you.
Right. Absolutely. So many health benefits. And, again, the idea is just to do something and
Right.
to incorporate small snippets of fasting. And certainly, if we can help you on that journey, go ahead again and reach out to us because we'd love to help with the 5-day drop, with Prolon, with any of these things. So
Right.
make sure you do definitely reach out. Well, this was a lot of fun as always. We're just here with Winning Wednesday to give you ideas and tips and tricks to help you win, especially if you are in that over 40 age group and things are kind of starting to go a little sideways. So we hope this information was helpful. If it was, feel free to share. We're live in all kinds of public places. And if you, want to just get a bigger sneak peek as to what it is that we do and how we help people, we both have great groups on Facebook that you could come and join and get lots of free content and learn a little bit more. And last but not least, we will see you next Wednesday, same time, same channel. And thanks for hanging out with me.
Bye.
Amy. Bye. Bye, everyone. Take care.